The mandate comes down from the executive team. We need an AI strategy by Q3. Suddenly, roadmaps are scrapped as product teams scramble to force large language models or machine learning into their existing software. It's the headless chicken syndrome. Companies pivot frantically, rolling out flashy new updates purely to satisfy industry hype and appease anxious investors. They are starting with a shiny new solution and desperately hunting for a problem it can solve. By working backward, they completely skip the vital step of product discovery. When you force artificial intelligence into an application without first identifying an unarticulated, painful user need, you guarantee a feature that looks great in a press release, but nobody actually uses. There is a simple way to measure if a product actually fits a market: the disappointment test. If your product disappeared tomorrow, would your users genuinely care? Most rushed AI features fail this test immediately. They aren't built to relieve actual human suffering or remove friction. They exist simply to make the company look innovative. As this illustration shows, a successful product manager operates differently. They act as the VP of market problems, tuning out the surrounding noise to focus entirely on the core user need. The pressure to innovate is entirely valid, but applying machine learning without a foundational, validated need is a fast track to market irrelevance. To find those real needs, product managers have to leave the building. They ignore company hype and go directly to the source to observe how users actually work. This diagram outlines how we capture reality. On the left, a funnel aggregates raw market feedback, like support tickets and lost sales. By applying the 5 whys technique, you drill past superficial complaints, narrowing those inputs down to the specific root cause of the friction. A novice takes surface-level notes on what a customer asks for. An expert maps out the entire customer journey, observing the workflow to isolate the exact moment where the user experiences the highest amount of friction. Before a single line of code is considered, you have to be able to clearly articulate the specific problem, the persona experiencing it, and the exact cost of that friction. Once you have a clearly defined user problem, you don't immediately start building. You pass that problem through a strict AI suitability filter. Machine learning excels at 3 functions: prediction for forecasting, classification for sorting, and generation for creating. Problems must fit one of these pillars. Next is the error tolerance test. Models aren't perfect. Can the user survive if the system is only 95% accurate? If you build a customer service chatbot where users demand absolute precision, that 5% error rate will ruin the experience. But if you are predicting delivery times based on traffic routing, a slight margin of error is perfectly acceptable. Then you test for data availability. Does your company actually possess the unique, proprietary data required to train a model to solve this specific problem? A problem is only suited for AI if it requires prediction, classification, or generation, and the user workflow can safely tolerate the inherent margins of machine learning error. The most common and fatal execution mistake happens right here. Companies spend millions building complex machine learning architecture without validating the actual problem first. You have to test your unproven user assumptions using a minimum viable product, a stripped-down, lean version of the feature, before you invest in heavy, expensive AI models. Here is your actionable 3-step checklist for Monday morning. First, identify a high-friction workflow. Second, state the problem without mentioning any technology. And third, run it through the prediction, classification, or generation filter. If a problem fails that filter, a traditional rules-based software solution is usually the better, faster, and cheaper choice. Artificial intelligence is a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. A great product manager acts as an expert in human psychology, only deploying that specific technology when the problem absolutely demands it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and like.